Tonight at 7:30 for PM Magazine.
Right here on Channel 8.
Theo knows how to impress the girls tonight on Cosby.
Semi-automatic assault weapons. The Senate votes a tough new ban. A new attack on smoking. Target. Cigarette vending machines. And major new research shows the tendency to be fat is inherited.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. I'm Jane Pauley, sitting in for Tom Brokaw. The battle raged today in the U.S. Senate. The issue, guns. Not just any guns, but 9 types of semi-automatic assault weapons. The question, whether to ban imports and manufacture of these guns in the United States. Twice today, the Senate voted. First, 52 to 48 to maintain the ban in a crime bill, and then 50 to 49 to keep it that way. It was a stunning defeat for the powerful gun lobby. NBC's Andrea Mitchell.
Bloody scenes like this Louisville massacre last fall, 7 dead, 14 wounded, seem to be turning the mood of the country against assault rifles. The weapon that day was an AK-47. It and 8 other types of semi-automatic assault weapons could not be manufactured, imported, sold, or owned if the measure approved today becomes law. Pressure has been building since 5 children were killed and more than 24 injured in a California schoolyard a year and a half ago. The weapon, also an AK-47.
She was on top of the building shooting a gun. He shot some of the kids.
Law enforcement officials have been lobbying hard against semi-automatics, what they call the weapons of choice in the drug wars.
And these are the guns that are piercing the blue suits of the police. And there are too many of those blue suits that have bullets through them. There are too many weeping widows over coffins.
The political shift was clear in New Jersey last week. The legislature voted the nation's toughest state ban on semi-automatics. People who now own the weapons would have to surrender them.
Then we have
Today's U.S. Senate vote was the gun lobby's first major national defeat.
They want to basically put all kinds of regulatory restrictions on honest people who own guns when all the studies show that criminals just laugh at those laws.
They want to spray that ammunition. Who's kidding who that these are sporting weapons?
Despite heavy pressure from the White House, 9 Republicans voted for the weapons ban.
No hunter, certainly in Kansas, in his right mind, would go after a deer or a pheasant with this firepower.
They were popping champagne corks at gun control headquarters.
The gun lobby is on its knees and on its way down and out.
Not quite. Backed by the White House, Senate Republicans are looking for a way to reverse the vote or water it down. So while the nation's mood seems to be shifting against assault weapons, there is still plenty of political pressure to keep them legal. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News at the Capitol.
There were more fireworks in Congress today. Treasury Secretary Nicholas Brady said that more than 1,000 savings and loans in this country could fail, twice the earlier estimate. And because of that, Brady said the cost of the S&L bailout could soar well beyond the $73 billion predicted by the Bush administration last year.
All of this suggests that there are too many unknowns to provide a single estimate of the ultimate cost. Taking into account all of the uncertainty and all of the variables, it appears that the cost of resolving institutions which are likely to come under the control of the RTC will be in the approximate range of 90 to 130 billion.
At the same time, the president's son, Neil Bush, testified today about his role as a director of the failed Silverado savings and loan in Colorado. The issue, Bush's relationship with 2 businessmen who got big loans from that institution.
Mr. Bush, did you ever use your position on Silverado's board for personal gain?
Never. Except to the extent that I gained by receiving the board fee, but I didn't have an ownership interest in Silverado. I didn't benefit directly or indirectly or in any other way by anything that took place at Silverado.
Bush told the committee that the $1 billion collapse of Silverado was caused by a slumping real estate market, not by inside abuse. No doubt the S&L crisis will put even more pressure on the country's huge budget deficit. Earlier this month, President Bush left open the possibility of raising taxes to reduce that deficit. Our latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll found that American voters see the deficit as the nation's leading economic problem. Almost everyone thinks a tax hike this year is very likely or somewhat likely. With higher taxes now possible, half think the president is already breaking his pledge not to raise them. Indeed, half now think he should raise taxes. Last month, only 39% said he should. Given a choice, more people say they prefer raising taxes than living with the current budget deficit. And who will be blamed if taxes go up? Not the Bush administration. Twice as many people will blame the Reagan administration or Democrats in Congress. Our poll was conducted among 1,000 registered voters from last Friday through last night. Still to come on NBC Nightly News, Fred Francis has the story of U.S. nuclear shells with a dangerous defect. And Ann Rubenstein reports on a new solution to schoolyard squabbles. Kids they call conflict busters.
The teacher said that he was a team captain and he wanted to be...
Mr. Green has a mower he purchased brand new. Oh, the wonderful things he thought it would do. But it sputtered, it coughed, it gave quite a wheeze. And mowing the yard was not such a breeze. And so when the time came to buy something new, Mr. Green bought a snapper, and so should you. For your yard and your garden, these snappers, you see, take mowing and grooming more seriously. And now when he mows, Mr. Green is seen with something we'd call a serious machine.
Kmart introduces Duracell batteries with a new copper top tester built right into the package. The quality you need at the price you want. From $1.37.
Guess why I call my Polident the Big Clean?
Does a big job on denture stains.
Right. But Polident's bigger than that. It fights denture odor in a big way. But Polident's bigger. It fights stains, odor, and tartar. Trust the big mouth. Give Polident the Big Clean.
The United States made an admission today about nuclear artillery shells that is likely to fuel anti-nuclear activists here and in Europe. An admission that hundreds of those shells stored in West Germany for 10 years were defective and could have caused a nuclear explosion. NBC's Pentagon correspondent, Fred Francis.
It is an ordinary-looking artillery shell like this one, but with a nuclear core that packs enough power to flatten a small city. But for more than a decade, the 8-inch variety of these shells had a flaw which could have caused an accidental nuclear explosion. In 1988, weapons designers at the Lawrence Livermore Lab in California discovered the problem using a new computer simulation. The computer indicated that if the shells were hit accidentally in a certain place with enough force, there was a remote possibility of an explosion.
My own personal view is that there was no danger, but that the shells in question did not meet the very high standards that we have.
And although Secretary Cheney dismissed the seriousness of the 1988 nuclear flaw, the warheads, thousands of them, made here at the nuclear plant in Amarillo, Texas, were fixed on an emergency basis. In Germany today, the news raised fears that there were still too many nuclear shells stored there.
We prefer to have no nuclear artillery stationed here altogether.
And today there are also concerns over the new warheads for the Trident submarine. The Washington Post reported that a secret study is determining if the plutonium warheads on the Trident missiles are dangerously close to the rocket fuel.
And while Pentagon sources say there has never been a nuclear accident, the information on weapons is so highly classified, it is impossible to know whether the nuclear arsenal is really safe or, like the artillery shells, just thought to be. Fred Francis, NBC News, the Pentagon.
One day after Mikhail Gorbachev's top advisors approved a radical move to reform the ailing Soviet economy, a move that would double food prices and cause other hardships, it was announced that the plan will be put to an unprecedented vote by those who will be affected. More on this from NBC's Bob Abernathy.
For the first time, the Soviet people are to be asked to vote in a national referendum, a referendum on the government's new proposals for economic reform.
Radical changes demand one indispensable condition, the achievement of a nationwide consensus. Consensus will prevent a social explosion.
But consensus may be hard to find. Officials said today if their reforms go through, there would be no improvements for 2 years. A 5 to 6% drop in living standards during that time. tens of millions unemployed, and on the average a 43% increase in retail prices. And how would Soviet citizens vote?
I don't know. I think people are not sure that they will be protected. We would vote in favor. Our country has to get out of this situation somehow.
In London, Soviet analyst Martin Macaulay.
If these reforms are not pushed through now, the economy will slide down into chaos, and the future is very bleak. The Soviet Union will have no future.
Meanwhile, the new parliament of the Russian Federation, which has 52% of this country's people, is debating how Russia can become more prosperous and more independent of the central government's control. Yesterday, Boris Yeltsin, the populist reformer, urged what he called real sovereignty for Russia, enough to run its own political and economic affairs. Today, an offended Mikhail Gorbachev denounced Yeltsin's speech as an attempt to disrupt the Union and abandon socialism.
There wasn't a word about socialism in it. His program may set the peoples of the Republic at loggerheads.
Yeltsin wants to be elected president of the Russian Federation, something Gorbachev is trying to prevent. But both men, to different degrees, want to move this country toward a market economy. Bob Abernethy, NBC News, Moscow.
A shift tonight in U.S. policy toward Israel. Secretary of State James Baker said that the United States now is ready to discuss sending a UN observer force to the Israeli-occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip. This follows criticism by President Bush yesterday over force used by the Israeli military against protesting Palestinians. NBC's John Cochran is at the White House tonight. John, do these back-to-back statements indicate a full U.S. policy change toward Israel?
No, it doesn't, Jane, but it is another signal that there will be times when the United States will act independently of what the Israelis want. Generally speaking, the Bush administration has been more critical of Israel than Ronald Reagan and his Secretary of State were. And what it means is that George Bush is exasperated with Israel for refusing to go along with Secretary of State Baker's plan to get the Israelis and Palestinians talking to each other about peace. Baker and Bush may be right or wrong, but everyone in Washington agrees this is pretty gutsy stuff for an administration which has often been accused of being too passive in its foreign policy. Jane?
Well, John, the PLO's Yasser Arafat will be addressing the UN Security Council in Geneva on Friday. Did the U.S. refuse Arafat a visa to address the UN in New York?
Now, what happened was U.S. officials privately told PLO officials don't have Yasser Arafat apply for a visa because it would be a terrible time for him to go to New York. And Arafat actually did not apply for a visa. U.S. officials said if he went to New York, it might set off violent demonstrations outside UN headquarters there. So everyone here at the White House was greatly relieved when the UN moved its meeting Friday from New York to Geneva.
All right, John. In Israel today, the government said it rejected the UN observer force, calling it, quote, an infringement on our sovereignty. As for President Bush's criticism, Israel indirectly accused the United States of perpetuating violence in the occupied territories.
A lot of cars reach 60,000 miles, but only 3 have done it in just 19 days. And every one was a Subaru. The durable, reliable four-wheel drive Subaru Legacy. At an average speed of 138 miles an hour, the Legacy hasn't just proven itself. It's taken less time to do it than any other car in the world.
Factory-to-dealer cash incentives on selected models to qualifying dealers means you could save hundreds on a Subaru.
Looking for a great place to go on vacation? You just found it.
In the morning, in the evening, ain't we got fun? Not much money, oh, but honey, ain't we got fun? The food is great here, there's never a bill. We'll stay up late, dear, let's not miss a thrill. Sunny weather, all together, we've got the fun.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Switch to oat bran? No way. Post bran flakes gives me 2/3 more fiber than the leading oat bran flake, and that keeps the brass in this horn.
Post natural bran flakes, keeping you at your best.
2/3 more fiber.
Maybe the reason more people switch to Glidden than any other paint in the last 5 years is because it lasts year after year, no matter what the weather.
Stormy weather.
Glidden, a better way to paint.
Health Secretary Louis Sullivan is once again taking bold action against the tobacco industry. This time, his goal is to reduce cigarette smoking by young people, and he's proposing changes that could affect every community in the country. More from NBC's Robert Hager.
44 of the 50 states have laws against selling cigarettes to minors, but the laws are not enforced. An estimated 3 million children under 18 years of age smoke nearly 1 billion packs of cigarettes a year, according to a recent study.
Now, sources say that tomorrow, Health Secretary Sullivan plans to accuse tobacco companies of targeting youngsters. In testimony before a Senate committee, Sullivan will propose tough new state laws to crack down against youth smoking.
Sullivan will ask states to pass laws to outlaw cigarette vending machines. There are estimates at least 16% of teenagers who smoke buy their cigarettes from vending machines. A handful of small communities, such as this one, White Bear Lake, Minnesota, have already attempted to ban the machines, but have not always been successful. Sullivan also will ask states to require special licenses for places selling cigarettes. Convenience stores, supermarkets, and even small stands would have to post more than permits presently required, would have to obtain the same sort of formal licenses now required of liquor stores, licenses which could be suspended if clerks were caught selling to minors. On Meet the Press last Sunday, Secretary Sullivan said this.
We certainly are very concerned about the fact that some 80 to 90% of adults who smoke started as teenagers, started before the age of 18.
Tobacco companies insist they do not try to get young people to smoke, but one study estimates that selling to minors is $1 billion a year business. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
For years, some people have been saying it's their nature to be overweight, that the problem is not their diet, but their genes. Well, now it appears they were right. The evidence is in 2 studies published in the New England Journal of Medicine, studies involving identical twins. NBC's correspondent, Robert Bazell.
Lunchtime in Southern California. Marv Dworzak says he does not have to watch what he eats.
I've never really had a problem with being overweight.
But Marv's wife, Nancy, says she has to be very careful.
I find it very easy to put on weight and difficult to take it off.
Scientists have long believed that there is a strong genetic component that makes some people, like Nancy, put on weight more readily than others. But until now, most of the proof has come from observations of animals. The 2 studies with twins make a very strong case that people's propensity to gain weight can be inherited. In this study at Laval University in Quebec, researchers overfed 12 pairs of twins. Each volunteer got exactly 1,000 calories more than he needed every day for 3 months. The men's weight gain ranged between 9 and 30 pounds, but each gained about the same amount as his twin.
The fact that you had the same genes had something to do with the amount of weight that you gained when challenged by the same amount of calories.
In the second study, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania examined 673 sets of twins in Sweden. They compared twins separated at birth with twins raised together. This study, too, showed that genetics plays a strong role in determining body weight. It also revealed, to the scientists' surprise, that eating habits that children learn don't seem to have much influence on how much they weigh as adults.
And it turned out that the similarity in the identical twins was just the same, whether they were reared together or whether they were reared separately, suggesting that how you were reared, your family environment in which you were reared, doesn't make that much difference.
Doctors who treat obesity say that the results of this study will come as no surprise to most people who have a weight problem. They hope the results will make others more understanding of how difficult it can be for some people to lose those extra pounds. Robert Bazell, NBC News, New York.
We'll be back with John Chancellor in a moment.
This is one of 570 million refund locations for American Express traveler's checks. Just phone, you can get a refund hand-delivered virtually anywhere.
Is that you, hon?
Don't let anything ruin your vacation. Take only American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them.
I don't believe it. You're Chuck Nelson's little sister. I was Chuck's roommate. Jim, you remember?
No.
Oh. But you look great. And you haven't changed.
so like the fluid in young skin, it sinks right in to help you look younger.
Thanks, but I'm not Chuck Nelson's little sister. I'm his older sister. How do you feel about older women?
Oil of Olay, original and sensitive.
Jake and Blake awake to Kellogg's Oat Bake.
Jake?
Yes, Angel Cake?
Why is it milk you forsake when you partake of oat bake?
I love Oat Bake straight. Does that aggravate?
No, no, my little potentate.
May I demonstrate?
How considerate. Raisins, nuts, and spices predominate.
So you appreciate?
Well, I didn't anticipate that a cereal straight would taste so great.
In milk or straight, Oat Bake tastes wonderful.
Huh?
I mean great. Oat Bake tastes great.
First rate.
Kmart takes a shine to your car with the Turtle Wax Hard Shell Wax Kit. The quality you need at the price you want. $3.27.
The best plant food? Miracle Grow, without a doubt.
Miracle Grow really produces.
Miracle Grow makes everything grow bigger and better.
I can't promise that Miracle Grow will earn you a world's record, but I can promise you'll get more flowers, more vegetables with Stern's Miracle Grow.
Secretary of State James Baker said today that China's record on human rights should not be the only factor considered when President Bush decides whether to continue giving that country preferential treatment as a trade partner. John Chancellor, in his commentary tonight, has more on China and human rights. John?
Jane, 1 year ago in Tiananmen Square in Beijing, Chinese students put up a statue resembling the Statue of Liberty, which they called the Goddess of Democracy. Later, as we all saw, the Chinese army murdered the students and destroyed the statue. And now there's more to the story. A French group bought a cargo ship and named it Goddess of Democracy and tried to use it as a floating radio station to broadcast pro-democracy messages to China. But, according to the organizers, the U.S. government pressured several Asian countries to scuttle the project. The reason they give for the American action, if the ship began broadcasting and the Chinese Air Force sank it, that would further damage China's reputation in Washington and make it harder for the president to press for better relations. As of now, the ship is not broadcasting. If that accusation against the United States is true, it shows how far the Bush administration will go to accommodate the hardliners who now run China. There's a double standard at work here. The administration believes in broadcasting to countries that are not free. Cuba is the target of radio and television broadcasts sent from Florida, but not China. Further, President Bush would never grant most favored nation trading status to Cuba, but he wants China to have it. Every president wants to make his mark on foreign affairs, and apparently George Bush wants to make his on China policy. He seems willing to placate China at all costs, even if it means silencing the Goddess of Democracy in the East China Sea, which is commentary for this evening, Jane.
Thanks, John. 1 week from today, Presidents Bush and Gorbachev begin their summit meeting in Washington. That meeting is scheduled to end with a joint news conference on June 3rd. And then Gorbachev heads cross-country, stopping first in Minneapolis. There and across the river in St. Paul today, workers were tearing down 38 of these billboards, advertising a local vodka, because some Minnesotans consider them insulting to Gorbachev. In their place, a sign of welcome in Russian.
Ford, profiles in quality, continuous improvement.
When your goal is to build the highest quality cars and trucks in the world, you can't stand still.
For the 1990s, we applied new technologies.
New thinking in how we build our cars.
Today, we're building cars so tight, so solid, so precise.
We can compete with anything. Made anywhere, by anybody.
For the 1990s, the Ford Escort and Mercury Tracer. Quality is job one.
Most credit cards advance you cash, but then immediately take interest back and keep on taking it. But now you can get cash interest-free with your Discover card. Just pay your balance every month, and for a small transaction fee, we'll give you the cash interest-free. So take it from us instead of giving it to them. It pays to Discover.
We asked world champion gardeners in the Guinness Book of World Records, which plant food do you use?
Miracle Grow.
Miracle Grow.
Miracle Grow.
I swear by Miracle Grow. It's the best. Hey, if world champion gardeners depend on Miracle Grow, shouldn't you?
Introducing a remarkable new Fix-A-Dent.
At last, an adhesive that doesn't quit at quitting time. Wait up, guys.
This new Fix-A-Dent holds stronger. 4 hours longer than any other cream adhesive. Fix-A-Dent and forget it all day into the night.
Los Angeles is reporting an outbreak of peace on the playgrounds of certain elementary schools. The credit goes to a peacekeeping force of 5th and 6th graders known as conflict busters. NBC's Ann Rubenstein reports from the front lines.
Find trouble on this Los Angeles playground?
I don't hear you! You did!
And the conflict managers are all over it.
And no interrupting. If you talking, he can't talk. If he talking, you can't talk. Okay?
There are facts to be gathered.
The conflict is mostly about you giving him Kool-Aid, right? Giving him. You giving who Kool-Aid? Hey, is this problem solved?
There are truces to be made.
Shake hands.
Seems a conflict manager's job is never done.
I understand it's another one, another fight.
Before the day ends, there will be dozens more resolved by the playground diplomats, 10 and 11-year-olds. To become conflict managers, they are trained in mediation and peacemaking skills.
Last week, the reports were outstanding.
At this school, in the Watts area of Los Angeles, Kathy Mostovoy put the program together.
I selected the kids that were troublemakers to hopefully turn them around. They usually are also the leaders on the yard. The kids follow. And this way, when the kids follow them, they will be following into problem-solving techniques.
D'Artagnan has been a conflict manager for a month.
I don't act the way I used to act. I don't fight a lot. You're cheating.
The conflicts can get fairly complicated.
He wanted to be the chief captain, so he socked you.
The job can be intense.
Wait, let me talk. Do y'all want to solve the problem?
The arguments have a familiar ring.
But it was not my problem.
In the LA school district, students in 50 elementary schools are being trained as conflict busters. Similar programs are being developed for the junior and senior highs.
And don't try to act smart, okay? We're trying to do our job here, okay?
It is hoped if the kids solve these problems on the spot, their education won't be slighted.
And when problems occur on the yard and carry into the classroom, the first thing the teacher has to do is resolve the problem. That can take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right out of instructional time.
Multiply that times the number of playgrounds and teachers in this country, and the figure must be staggering. The schools in Los Angeles which have the program report calmer playgrounds, fewer distractions, kids with higher self-esteem.
Before, I was really mean to people when they got into a fight with me, and now I just changed. I'm really nice, and I just calm down, and I say, excuse me, I don't want to get into a fight.
Children who are learning the other basics. Ann Rubenstein, NBC News, Los Angeles.
That's Nightly News for this Wednesday. I'm Jane Pauley for Tom Brokaw. I'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.
Baywatch is back, Friday at 8. Then Barbara Eaton is Kathy, a working girl with a dream fantasy.
You are so beautiful.
What'll happen if he discovers the secret life of Kathy McCormick, Friday on NBC.
Tomorrow morning on Today, we'll look into paying teenage girls not to get pregnant.
Also, Robert Guillaume as Phantom of the Opera, plus auto safety from 2 live dummies.
That's tomorrow morning on Today.
Look what Sizzler's put together for $6.99. For a limited time, you can get a grilled boneless breast of lemon herb chicken, a baked potato.